Good afternoon, everyone. In today's video, we are looking more at this upcoming tornado outbreak for April 4th on Tuesday. This is, again, just a day away. We're under 24 hours out until these storms really start developing. As you can see, we have two moderate risks in place. This is a level 4 to 5 on the severe weather scale in two areas down there in Arkansas and southern Missouri. Also up there, once again, in Iowa, northern Illinois, and northeastern Missouri, also in that moderate risk. This could very well combine as well, as we will have a line of storms kind of form later on throughout the evening and overnight hours with a potential damaging wind threat. I do expect that these moderate risks they're very close to each other, so I do expect them to once again combine. I don't think a high risk will be issued with this one, but once again, we were surprised by the Storm Prediction Center last time. I wouldn't be surprised if we are surprised by the Storm Prediction Center this time. Now we're looking at the tornado threat, and there we go again. Two areas of a 15% hatch risk for tornadoes, with that significant hatch threat in both those areas. That's also including the 10% risks. So again, long-lasting, potentially strong, large tornadoes possible with these storms. We are going to see some supercells up north that could produce some long-lasting tornadoes. We're also going to see some storms down south that could produce some fast-moving strong tornadoes as well. So again, two different areas, two different widespread areas we have to watch closely for Tuesday. This will be a little bit of a later event than Friday, but still kind of the same time frame that we saw Friday, with these supercells in line of storms after those supercells, which is again very concerning for these same areas. Wind risk is not as significant as we saw Friday. You can see here we have large 30% risk for damaging winds, so that means 70-mile-per-hour winds possible within those storms. Wouldn't be surprised if we saw a significant threat in a small area, but as you can see right now, wind threat is not it's not the main concern as of right now. Hail threat is definitely one of those main concerns. You have a significant threat for once those supercells start to develop. You will have that main hail threat, especially up north in Iowa and northern Missouri. Then this threat moves eastward into more of the Lake Erie area. Lake Huron and Lake Ontario will have a significant severe weather threat possibly for Wednesday. It won't be anything major, but definitely in some areas you could see some strong storms throughout Wednesday, April 5th. Looking at the latest HRRR run, this is the 12Z run. We will have the 18Z coming out soon, so I might post that to the community tab and some later model runs to the community tab later on today. As you can see, we're going to be moving throughout the morning hours. This is the 9 a.m. time frame. You're going to see some cells kind of fire off around the 10 a.m. time frame. And these will not be tornadic. These will be kind of a distraction throughout the morning hours. You can see some of those supercells developing across Illinois. Eventually, those just kind of die off, and then you reach those afternoon hours. You get about 3 p.m. and you start to see some cells starting to fire off, and these fire off very quickly. You can start to see already some of these cells might have a tornado potential throughout the 4 p.m. time frame throughout northwestern Illinois. Those will be moving quite fast as well. So fast moving supercells that might form strong tornadoes throughout northern Illinois, and still not very widespread storms yet. But again, some very, very strong storms that could be producing long-tracked strong tornadoes throughout those afternoon hours of Tuesday there, and those go off into southern Wisconsin, where again that tornado threat is still there. You can see some of those helicity tracks. They look quite concerning for that tornado potential. Later on in the evening hours, you're going to see some cells developing off in Arkansas. You have another significant tornado threat. Although these storms don't look very organized, definitely some of these could be producing some strong tornadoes as well throughout those evening hours. And later on, you're going to see a line of storms developing throughout the overnight hours. There's going to be a lot of cap around this area, so not a lot of storms are going to develop throughout Tuesday. And rather, you're going to see a line of storms fired off by that cold front moving eastward. And this line of storms is not going to last too long. You're mainly going to see a big gust of wind at the start of that line of storms, and eventually you're just going to see a lot of heavy rain throughout the line of storms. You're going to see some clusters also going on throughout the early morning hours of Wednesday. Definitely quite a bit of cluster of storms over there in the Ohio Valley. That will bring you maybe some morning thunder and some morning heavy rain as well. I think that strong tornado time frame will be starting about 2 p.m. and then going throughout the 11 p.m. time frame, where you are going to see that main threat for strong tornadoes. And then going throughout the overnight hours, I do think we are going to see a few tornado warnings going out throughout this line of storms. It depends on how organized it is, but definitely some embedded QLCS tornadoes. I wouldn't be surprised, as some of that tornado juice might still be there. Like I was saying, we're going to have a lot of cap around this region. And cap is kind of a layer that you sometimes see when a thunderstorm is developing. You can see this kind of a weird cap cloud. It's called a cap cloud, and this sometimes weakens a thunderstorm from developing. You can see here sometimes this cap cloud prevents this thunderstorm from developing its full cycle, and this kind of collapses. But sometimes when these storms are so strong and these storms have a ton of energy, this pops the cap off. So imagine a bottle of water right here. It has a little cap right here. Sometimes these storms are so strong, and the amount of moisture and a lot of the energy is so strong that it just immense amount of pressure flings the bottle cap off, and then a lot of that storm just has a lot of room to develop into a large-scale supercell thunderstorm. So that's what cap is pretty much for. And as you look back at the ARRR model, you can see here we have a lot of colors here. And this is a lot of cap around the region for Tuesday. Now, eventually, this cap kind of breaks apart, and you can see a little bit of space here for some storms developing throughout northern Illinois. And that's where those supercells will develop, is that little area of where there's not much cap in the region, but still a lot of cap, especially down south, where that will prevent some storms from developing. We're not going to have as of a widespread event like we saw Friday, but at least some cells could generate some strong tornadoes throughout some areas. We're just not going to see as of a widespread event, which is quite good. It's not going to be as dangerous as Friday, but definitely some areas might be impacted by strong tornadoes, so we have to get that word out. Just don't be surprised if you don't see any storms, because there is going to be a lot of cap around this region. It's going to prevent a lot of storms from developing, but if we do see a lot of storms developing, they will likely produce strong tornadoes. So definitely have those plans in place just in case. You can see the significant tornado parameter rapidly increases throughout the afternoon. You can see here some of these maxed out as you head into more of this border of Iowa and Illinois. I think the max tornado threat will be up here, but you will still see that tornado threat down here in Arkansas, Missouri. But again, that main significant long track strong tornadoes will be up here in northern Illinois. So if you're in that hotspot area, make sure you have those plans in place. Stay safe out there. Have multiple ways to get warnings and watches, because you only have minutes to take shelter after a tornado warning is issued. You can also see here with the dew points, a ton of moisture these storms are going to have to feed off of. You can see even 70 dew points up here in the border of Iowa, Illinois. A border there of the triple point. This is going to be about the triple point right over here, where the warm front, the cold front, low pressure meet, and that's where I believe where the max tornado threat again is going to be. So if you live in that area, again, make sure you have those plans in place. Have multiple warnings, multiple ways to get warnings and watches and advisories throughout Tuesday, and this will again go throughout the overnight hours as that line of storms moves eastward, eventually bringing a lot of rain and some damaging winds throughout the overnight hours. But of course, that's not as concerning as those supercells going throughout northern Illinois. Might live stream this, so stay tuned for that. Subscribe to the channel if you are new, and turn on post notifications. You won't miss a single upload or live stream on the channel. Share this with any friends or family that may live in these areas that might be impacted by this upcoming potential tornado outbreak again across the Midwest. But as always, I'll see you in the next one.